of, like, from the trigger warnings, I kind of know what I'm getting into. But I'm very curious to see how it all happens. Jasper is very, very upset today. Nothing is making her happy. So if she puts up too much of a piss baby fuss, yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited for the castle. 'Cause yeah, last time, so first time we went to the shore, right? We went to the shore and there was a really pretty mermaid and she was really, really, really nice. She loved us. She loved us a lot. Maybe a little too a lot. Because she wanted to keep us forever and she drowned us, right? And then we met then the city had the gravedigger, who was also very, very nice. I was a fan of the gravedigger. I liked her. She was very emotionally broken inside due to having to bury an entire village. And she was it went good. It went really, really good until she got so scared of losing us that she decided to just bury us too. So now we have the castle. Yeah, it was the worst swim ever. Though also, like, you should ask that question about breathing beforehand, you know? You know? But yeah, let's go to the castle, shall we? When I saw that one of the reasons I wanted to play this was I saw the Itch.io CGs, and the CGs of the girl in this route, she kind of looks like Cagliostro in like a really good way, right? And I like her vibe. I think she has a cool vibe. I don't know what that says about me, but let's continue our journey, huh? Oh, fuck, my door is open. That's fine. So, you want to go to the castle? Good idea, is it? All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put-upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Yeah, that's definitely what's gonna happen here. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which would be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? Holy shit. It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. Jasper, are you eating cords? No? Okay. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your midnight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope only that you have brushed up on your curtsies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. I can curtsy! I can curtsy! The narrator is she loves us so much, I can tell. She's really rooting for us. I can do a curtsy. I actually did, I did dance, I did ballet when I was a wee Winnie. Royals can be temperamental, after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready at a moment's notice to detach from your hips. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb, you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what, exactly, will await you at the castle, but you have visions, as you run, of a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and a queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be wise and kind. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. You know, our, like, fairy tale imaginings have all been very wrong. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. Oh my gosh, that's a good line. Okay, no, I'm taking a screenshot of that, just because I like the sweeter than marzipan. You're allergic to marzipan. Something tells me the princess doesn't care. She will be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters, for that matter. Marzipan is your favorite. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm, like, mildly allergic to onions, but I don't let that stop me, so, like... as long as it's not life-threatening. I am not a doctor. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Hello, hello, Vanta! Oh, angry bird. Was there not a very famous queen who once said, with a cavalier wave of her hand, that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? The hungry peasants. Hello, Velvet. You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. Yeah, they definitely did not say hungry in the original quote. Though royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need, this does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens, and princesses and princes, are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless, and selfish, and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there is no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It is this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl, or orb, or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. Ooh. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear that somebody is home. This is the first time that, like, someone was actually home at a house, quote unquote. The king and the queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What, perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect, as you stand there, that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Be gone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, Or rather, they were, before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But, though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there is nobody outside of its perimeter standing sentry. Is it just the princess? There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's exterior are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There is nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has, at long last, begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and as secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should all have been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you, at long last? Hello, hello, kamikaze! What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? We're meeting a princess. That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend a night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panicked, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. Way more pleasant night, right? You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder, where is everybody? Why, it is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Yeah, that's not sus or anything. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then press your palm back against the door. Ooh. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There is no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, you then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and, with wild eyes, you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces in the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit these torches? It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage, then cry out, addressing the empty hall in a timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello, you say, your eyes wide. Is anybody there? Your voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but it is met, yet again, with silence. You cannot say you are too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again, and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do. Is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of a similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of aeons past, memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest, then, that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then, you step inside the bedchamber which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant, not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Oh, she's gorgeous! Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. Ah, yes, her slender calves are they prove how beautiful she is. MC is just like a hopeless lesbian. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking, you cannot look away from her. Oh God. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half as so endearing as she. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath a bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. Okay, but Velvet, this was not like a ball-jointed doll. This was like creepy Victorian doll. Like, this thing is like haunted with the spirit of a small child. Yeah, it's different. She raises her head. Oh my God, look at her face. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she is looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in their grate. you can see that you are mistaken. She is not just pretty. She's beautiful, gorgeous. She is beautiful, so much so it is breathtaking. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. I'm very breathtaking. Watch as I, do you want to go swimming? Let's go swimming, guys. Perhaps she is some kind of vision. A waking dream? A hallucination? But no, she is none of those things. The doll on her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who is holding it. Wow, we are just full on. Just like, wow, she's gorgeous. Wow, 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 wow. She is so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You are rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it is not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh no, she's stupid. Oh, the girl says in a voice that, surprisingly enough, is far less refined than her appearance. It is good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed, a response on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. Jasper, don't eat my cord. The girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina, she canvasses the space between you. Her room is so very large, there is quite a lot of space. Then takes your hands in her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement, be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You'd never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. I wouldn't mind either. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she is always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with blank, bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own. Or, am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart plunges. You do not know her. She is still a stranger, but you are struck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You are not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? They Thank you for the resub.
Half a year of Winnie Spotting.
You have spotted me for half the year. Damn, that's a long time. What the heck? What the heck? Wow. Jasper, time continues. Time continues too much. Thank you. It is regrettable you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country? I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all. Or at least they should. Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. Yes, she is. You get the feeling, instead, that she is merely telling the truth. You thought the mermaid was telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that other countries do exist out there. Yeah, word. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you came from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. The girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her, unthinkingly, that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her. Or at least, you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then, you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be a queen, after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known, before you entered this chamber, that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Why are you... You're thinking about getting beheaded and this is your response? Anyways. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address, that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes. And anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here? You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all. How wonderful! I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long. I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive. I find it interesting that she's got so many sprites compared to the other two girls. It makes sense. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while. Or any of the other servants, for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that is quite curious. How could a household full of servants simply disappear? That, I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It is so tiring. She said that her ministers sent the servants away. What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known. Of course we hadn't known. It's all right. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very good at answering back. Oh, no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Wow. Oh, listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. God, I love her. Jasper, are you done in here? Can you sit somewhere more comfy? I am not comfy. There, you deal with it. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all. That's a little ominous. The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show you all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, where she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives, at long last, before a door. Jasper, what are you chewing on? The princess pushes this door aside summarily, then thus permitting you to enter the small, humble bedchamber. Jasper? Stop being a shit. This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls here are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There is a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though, if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it is cold in every room in her abode. Now, here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn your nose up at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it is more than passable. What if she isn't even a princess? I mean, who's to fucking say? We have no idea. Are you gonna be content, Jasper? Do you want water? Drink some water. I see you want water, so drink it. There you go. Good job. Okay. I have presented the bird water. Maybe she will settle down. One moment. Don't climb on my Go XLR. What? Hi. Do you want to sit on my computer screen? Do you just want to stare at me? Okay. She's just watching me now. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you have slipped beneath the bed's sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There is only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and the quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles. That's good! I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic, with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid. You're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it is something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her, manners be damned. You were always scolded, too, back in the conservatoire, for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow, if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad you seem to appreciate it, at least. Though, I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All of my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature, still, to declare that you are out of the woods. In a metaphorical sense, I mean. But things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you and change into the night clothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You are too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. Jasper's falling asleep. You exhale, and, lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You are so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though, in this case, I rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyes, like the ghostly images in a phenakistoscope, were not conjured from within your mind. They were, instead, taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming. You are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory, and how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you were last for breakfast. You remember how, when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled, too, to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies, too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sew on missing buttons and iron out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. But these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps, and the pinches. Yeah, no, this is sad. Once, during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. Holy shit. This happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp, and they perforated your skin. Not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then, when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as whey, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time, on its own, though it still left a scar, a white raised thing, like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot, back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron. But it could not have been that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you awake, at long last, with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be stammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you are still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all of your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. Do we have a maid outfit? Guys, did she give us a maid outfit? I fucking love maid outfits. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that is the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. Yes, Jasper? You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. What? Does no one else here like maid outfits? Maid outfits are awesome. There's so many. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You are not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, Then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. My favorite style, honestly, is probably like the classic like Victorian maid with a super, super long skirt. I think is very elegant. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. Yes? You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you might mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber and make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while, you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door, but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder... Oh. I'm good, I just drank water. You wonder, briefly, whether you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would be a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. Wow, we are already doting on her. You ought, instead, to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the morning light. You can see now that there are fewer shadows to impede your view how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. Yes, Jasper? The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. Ooh, yeah, no, there's a lot of... there are a lot of, like... Here are different maid outfit types. Here, let me this is gonna be a self-report, but let me. Those are more themes than types. Oh, damn it, I can't pull it off. Here, let me quick. Hey, I'm just, just casually asking my friend to send a picture. I have a friend who also really likes maids, so she might be able to find what I'm looking for. God, she's already typing. Black Lagoon maid. Let me see what those are like. Oh! Those are pretty cool. She's like, oh shit, I got you. I got you. Here, I'm gonna give her some context. All right, I will be able to present upon you guys the cutest of maids. The princess herself. Oh wait, no, I read this line already. Everyone finds out that Winnie likes maid outfits. She is attired in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow, or spilt across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was cosseting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It is time to wake your mistress. My friend is demanding to know the name of the game. You call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still sewn tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too, and sigh. Well, nobody ever said that your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time, she replies. I need some water. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs, then turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest. Just give me a little longer. The princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from the conservatoire, save for your knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, it is that one must be cruel to be kind. You do not think this adage was practiced with any great success in the conservatoire, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her, once again, to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. Damn. She is very slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. Wow. Tag yourself, I'm the princess. Oh. Defeated, the princess sighs. Alright. I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. Oh no, she's cute! Oh no! Oh no! I'm up. You don't need to nag me. Yeah, my friend just found the ultimate maid outfit. Let me show you. I can't help but get derailed. Look it. Look it. This is such a gorgeous, gorgeous maid outfit. That's pretty gothic. I mean, it's more leaning towards like traditional, like Victorian-esque, but definitely more like Lolita inspired as well, which is why it's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. Here, I'm gonna... Beep? Beep? I'm up. You don't need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed and you have put her doll to one side, you set upon her toilet. What? Oh, like the waking up shit. Like eau de toilette. Toilette? I can't speak French. You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. You allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess, "Are you all right, dear one?" brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in thought there. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought you had learned your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finish with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at you askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Ma'am, you can, I promise you have the power to dress yourself. Is that all right? You ask the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Yes, that's all right. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. Hi, Ellie. Yeah, I don't think I still think she she can at least help. Piece of shit, I love her. You have never seen a naked woman before, excepting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. Yeah, we can tell you're pretty... MC's pretty repressed. You have never much liked the way that you look. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's all right. I might be a princess, but we're both people under all of our clothes. I doubt we look much different. You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know, to look at her face, that you are different. Damn. She is much, much prettier than you are. Okay. We good. But she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Then you reach out with your trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. Throat frogs, why are you there? Okay, I think we're good. You work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of the buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully aware of what it is exactly you are doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. Enjoy this picture of the sky. Hey, it's not that kind of visual novel. I'm pretty sure this person has done 18+ novels. She is not even looking at you. Instead, oh my god, my throat. Nice boat too, nice sky. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again. The sight of all of this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Oh. Fortunately, you were able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps. Spurred on, perhaps, by your anxiety. Oh no, are you using Riz as well? Oh no. Jasper. Here, let me... I think Bird is done with me. Yeah, she really is just like spilling her spaghetti all over this poor girl's nightgown. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown. Her motions, once again, as graceful and as fluid as a dancer's. This task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly, for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. Let me guess, it's in a pile on the floor in the corner. That's my guess. Sweat begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. Knees weak, palms spaghetti. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily, as you search. The princess standing there all the while, as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? There, Jasper, be free! What a fool you are. The princess, noting your panic, giggles, then says, Are you looking for my dress? Yeah, why didn't I? I don't know, you'd think that I would have. She's got a cute dress. Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing. I thought so. I did wonder, before you started undressing me, why you'd not asked where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind? It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it. MC was not quite this bad in the other routes. Oh my god, we just like lost every ounce of like... Every brain cell is gone. This girl is too beautiful. She's too naked. My dress is in my armoire, the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside it enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses. I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked. She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside that wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. Oh, yo, a VN, cute lesbian love story with very long frilly dresses and Victorian maids. Yo, I'm gonna have to check that one out. Ellie, this is the first, this is like the first thing of Ebi Hime's that I've like actually like seen. And I liked it because it was yonder. Absolutely amazing. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her. No, you don't have fucking fuck. Concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. I just think yonder is her kind of neat. She's easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems a miracle you can still remember how to breathe. Mirai Nikki was unironically fun. I like the manga. Except the ending. But, you know, I've got onions on the yanderes out there. Does have some banger songs, though. Ah, that's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you. Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. Yes, that is Yuki. And the infamous screenshot with her and her hands looking all crazy. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to anyway. I think you're very pretty too. Oh. God damn. Well, I now own blackberry honey. Thank you, Ellie. You know, sometimes you gotta throw a couple bombs to be a good guy. No, you don't. Oh my. Your face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, what with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. Yeah, that'd be, Yeah, that'd be terrible if she was a little weird somehow. You're making yourself quite the easy target. Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside. Hello, beloved. Grisaya? I don't think I've seen that. You can't think of any particular... God, of course you would have an opinion on it, Kelly. You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. It was fun but weird. Honestly, that's kind of like the best stuff sometimes. If you know it's gonna be weird, why not just like go, you know. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. Amane Suo. She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes about her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look In the stark midday light, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. This is the second time. Wait, no. I think this is the third time this place has been likened to a tomb of some degree. The princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses. Of course, roses. Oh, how very pretty! Do you not think they are gorgeous, dear one? The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. Ooh, they make for a fine spectacle, in fact. A welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and the drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. It's a little weird. You know, like if there's only like one bush of roses that's alive, like how? They are a rich, bright red, just like blood. Their heads so full, they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They are pretty, in a sense, but there is something unsettling about them, too. Something that is almost obscene. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but... Oh, they are simply divine! Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. Roses over any other flower. Okay, but spider lilies are really pretty. The princess reaches out as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place among its brethren. Though I like spider lilies because they're also, it's the sign of something's fucked up. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she is not. Who did you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you worried more about yourself. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent watches over her. Oh, yeah, I know lilies are really pretty, but yeah, they're, not good for meow meows. Watch out if you have pets, what kind of houseplants you acquire. A lot of them are bad. A few moments of silence pass. Yeah, lilies don't represent anything else. Nope. Then, the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me. The princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head. She loves me not. The princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. These petals flutter about the princess like bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola. She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not. The princess's fingers hover over the final petal, which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, "She loves me! I knew it!" You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting is one that you are familiar with. The girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game. The younger ones, at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. Yeah, I can tell. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She says it so easily, as you ought to have suspected as much. And indeed, part of you did. She's so forward, I love it. Yeah, I mean, the gravedigger didn't really get simped on as much. That is very true. But I feel like... I guess I'll have to wait until I finish, but I feel like the connection was a bit deeper than just, oh my god, she hot, which is like romance in a different sense, you know? You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. Exactly. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you are the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. You have not known her for all that long, but you are already entranced by her. Ensnared. Like that hunting metaphor. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my. The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. That was, excuse me. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. Winnie drinks some water curiously. What idea? You can't tell? You cannot even begin to guess. I just thought that all this watching must be boring you, the princess says, tossing the rose's stripped stem carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun. I'm gonna quick get some more water. blah, 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 blah. I have more water, but Jasper is very, very angry at the world. Thank you for the oh my gosh, 2 hydrates. Okay. It's hard work being a princess, guys. When is Jasper not angry? Yeah. The princess retrieves a second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. I want to see what fate has in store for you too. Oh. Megane mode. Are we gonna work? Cheers. We don't want to work? Fine, I'm putting my glasses on myself. Here we go. I want to see what fate has in store for you too. Whoa, wow, glasses. Now I can read. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? What if we get the loves you not? The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You're clumsy and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. The head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns, too, a fact you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your finger, and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear! You're bleeding! The princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested the silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, with which she might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It is simply not done. That is what you always thought, but... Please, hold still. This might sting a little. The princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes affixed all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. Yeah, I figured this is where it was going. She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. Oh, that's cute! Look at it! Oh, we're cute! She parts her mouth, and with a soft sigh which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. You know, this is a good sushi. This might not be a conventional kiss, but it feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. The princess's lips, which are red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. Oh my. I swear to God, this isn't 18 plus. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she is doing. Oh? The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable, per se. But this is rather awkward. You did not expect it, that is all. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She is the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your fingers still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly. Her crown looks like teeth. Yeah, maybe a little bit, and her dress kind of has, like, mouth, motifs as well. But I've heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching in your throat, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older? Well, no. But my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my ladies' maids to look after me then. Oh, yeah, it is a lot like a Ftactiona. How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, smiling mischievously. Because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Now, that was quite the sharp retort. You did not expect it. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, though this might, perhaps, be to your benefit. With some luck, all of your blood will flow to your face rather than to your finger, and the bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling, but she still is. You are not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It is making your heart flutter. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you were sure she would not be so very familiar. You feel, quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. Damn, this was spicy. The days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There is no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and, in any event, there is no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall, as you lay down in your bed, the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused, not upon yourself, but upon the princess. Same. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. Really? Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. Damn, this narrator is such a bitch to us. I love it. Please continue, ma'am. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's chambers later. Oh, you are in the princess's chambers later, perhaps, than you ought to be. Later, then, is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate it. That, and the fire which crackles in the grate. Imagine having a narrator who constantly tears you to shreds, right? Right? You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess, who is lying in her bed, and you bid her good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Wane? Is she all right? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark. She won bark. Wow, wow, wow. And it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there will be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded around the gardens earlier, was gray and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and it is well fortified. But even with the fire, it is rather cold. Storm that is approaching. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be all right, all alone in her oversized bed, in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be all right? There is nobody in the castle to hurt her. But still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this. Please, perhaps, that you are taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it is so very late. But would you mind sitting with me a little longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course. This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you can read. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it came to the literary art. Maybe just a little bit. She might have roasted us a little. It's fine. Reading books is all you have ever been any good at. Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. The princess's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like.
More water.
This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. The book is old, though, and the bindings are weak. The page is brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, please. The princess's request seems to be a simple one expressed sweetly. So much so, you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book which is resting upon her bedside table and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read to the princess a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or, better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid. You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply, "but for a princess to marry a scullery maid." "You're still hung up about that?" the princess titters. "Don't pay it too much heed. I'm just talking to myself." As if anything like that would ever happen when there is no priest around who would officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. Yeah, titters. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one story to me? Just one. You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. You read another story to the princess, which is of a similar vein as the last, impossible adventures culminating, at their close, in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it. Her only request, that of more. If she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree out offhand without considering the ramifications. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I know. The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be all right for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes you with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Yeah, she is. She's not gonna let me go. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be? The princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. I would not upset this princess, okay? I can't control the MC. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come on. And that is what you do, after returning, briefly, to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in her glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return as though you are a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says. But I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. Yeah, no, this is like... this is so much more blatant than the other ones. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slide into bed beside the princess. Yes, Ellie, they are trying to kill you specifically. So, the last time that we, like, got in bed with another girl, it didn't end too well, so we'll see if our fate can be different this time. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There, the princess exclaims once your body is lying beside hers. This is so much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow and, with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... The princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. Uh-oh. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise. Yeah, this is really cute. When's the shoe gonna drop? When's it gonna go bad? You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause. But you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor or an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yeah. You know, sometimes you're just a little valley girl. Yes, you think, only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. I think princesses should be allowed to be kind and selfishly help out even though they shouldn't, because I think it's very cute. You have been working hard for a long time, have been running for even longer. But now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Oh boy. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. Yeah, princesses should be allowed to murder. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death. But you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets about you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and... yes. You even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. You know that something is wrong, catastrophically so, the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that, when you fell asleep, it was in a bed. A nice, warm bed, no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Hiccups. You are standing, instead, against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately that you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. Wow. It looks like the princess is, yeah. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. Yeah, those skeletons definitely have maid outfits on. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for that is, indeed, where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing, instead, you realize with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. Free uniforms. You feel like you are going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree when you catch notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here. Others attired in the simple black and white outfits of servants, which look much like the dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expansive cell, manacled to the wall, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. Hey, thank you for the follow. That was perfect timing. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained. But even if you could, there would be no point. There is no way any human can survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. Hey, I love heart hoagies as well. Thank y'all. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped in some sort of burgundy goop which might once have been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she is not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals, and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, in the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there, you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there, you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you, should you stay here. Her legs ran off. Ay! You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This, too, glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. Oh my gosh, we got some oomfies here. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, performing a set action over and over again, hoping for a different response.
It's true.
In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. This narrator is done with us. Just like, please just give up and die already, okay? Okay? You are making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, the princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, lilting steps. It would seem like you have finally awoken. How are you? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. Balefully, you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit, to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that, for a few moments, it hurts you to look at her. Once, the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now, it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you awoke, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle, which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place, after all, for a princess. It is horribly cold here, and so very drab, and there is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. Right? Yeah, no, there's teeth, like, everywhere. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon. Not when I've dispatched of you. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lilting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured that out already after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could, you would cringe away from her. She's cringe. But you cannot. You are completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. I can't disagree with that. You wish she would keep holding you. I think the MC is also a little conflicted. You wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best you can. But though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? Ah, you're such a good girl, the princess says, in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Yeah, she called us a good girl. Why, then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up. There is nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Head pats, are they gonna work? Are they gonna work? What is it broken? Why are we broken, head pats? You were working the other day. Come on. No? Fine, let me put my own head pats on. Wait, no. Cancel. Wait. God, it's been so long. How do I fucking... How do I do this? Oh my god, head pads. Whoa. Oop. Please. No? Where are my head pads? I'll do it myself. There we go. All right, I get some head pats. Well, MC here is also getting some head pats. Everybody else is dead. Why, yes! How very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Don't worry. They're totally, it's fine. Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means... Naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again. That word, which seems grossly inappropriate given all which has transpired. Naturally. There is nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? Hiccups. The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me. Even if it isn't natural to other people, this just feels right. Yeah, I have to do the head pats manually. Imprisoning her servants and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There is a bit more to do than that, though. Okay, that's good. That's enough head pats. Thank you. You have gotten your money's worth. And yeah, women can't do shit anymore. Can't kill the girls for some fun. Oh, of course there's more. I like you, dear one, the princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciative. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see? The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter than meringue, and just as airy. It is just as inoffensive. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Wanly, the princess sighs, a beleaguered woe-is-me sigh which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you, at least, might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least. When she still had the breath to speak, of course. Ellie. You look at the princess. Where else is there for you to look, really? Your eyes affixed to her face. She is still smiling, but there is something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you are only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently to the way she usually acts. She is not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really, like I said. You were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes. You are sure that the princess has said her ministers sent them away, though. Was that a lie? Would you tell a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what had actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them, too. Did she now? You suppose you ought not be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes. Empty, yawning abysses. So, I killed them. I killed my servants, too. Though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all futzy old men. But I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. I feel like this is less vor and more cannibalism. There's a bit of a different, like, similar but not quite the same. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why, you ask the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Why? Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude. Unless you have any better ideas. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded, you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. It's totally how love works, Ellie. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. There are instances, depending on where you live. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you are finished, however, her concentration fails her. She can just change the laws. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, there's there's no one to say that it's against the laws. Yeah, like, vor is a little more specifically fetishy. Cause like, if I'm not I can't say this. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one. That's very funny, but why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day, I'll be the queen. I am the law. Hey! That is a good point, but would eating people not turn her subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I might act, and I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. Posture check. What? Yeah, I should stretch. Tread carefully. Ugh. I am just saying that there have been real instances of people having to resort to cannibalism, and I would not call that vor. Anyways. I know all about the plague. Oh, that's right. Everyone's fucking dead. Once, I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only. A monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, which, with your weary throat, which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they've pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconsistent, even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so to consume their flesh and blood. I am a monogamous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too.
Yeah, I support this woman's wrongs.
You have been awfully nice to me. And you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain, ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this. But you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So, I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together, forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft silken hair brushing against your cheeks. Can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it ghosts against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide, and her lips are so red. Yeah, this girl loves us, man. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet.
No, Kamikaze, I have overthought about that before for reasons.
I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really? The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, in the princess's gaze, some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding, which passes between the pair of you, is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. This route is so much more, like, overtly sexual than the others. Princess is freaky. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way. But this, too, comes to a swift, merciless close. Yeah. The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She is supping on it in great, greedy gobbets, like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Why are we so crunchy? Maybe she got our, like, larynx. Why is this kind of horny? I don't know. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twined about your waist, you find you cannot hate her. This is like... She is far too unworldly. You are sure, as your consciousness begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant, it borders upon the monstrous. It is a love you never thought that you would experience. This love of the princesses eclipses anything you have ever known before.
Drinking my water. Her love language is cannibalism, y'all. Is good. Exactly.
It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you might once have had of right or wrong. The princess, as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner, more stubborn than you are. No, it's okay. This is fine. This is good. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back. Desperately, you gasp for air. But she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her red lips redder still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly, inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly, like knives. Then, she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now, it is red. There is so much blood, you can smell it when you inhale. Sharper than metal. It is so potent, you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you, what with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know? You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace? Or will you try to fight against it?
Oh, we're here. Yes, overwrite my save. Yeah, no, the narrator does not give a shit. We have gotten that. This is our third time of the narrator being like, hey, you done fucked up. But anyways, we're gonna accept our fate first. What? Really? You're fine with being eaten alive in a dark, dingy dungeon, then being left to rot? That does not sound like a very satisfying ending to this particular narrative. But if that is what you want, then so be it. I do not mind indulging you. That is what I have always done, after all, from the moment we first met. I have dedicated myself tirelessly to answering your wishes, and this is no different. Do not be so foolish to think, though, that you can escape me, even if your life's blood has mingled with that of the princesses. I am not going to relinquish my hold upon you that easily. I did pledge, after all, to remain by your side, come what will, fire or flood. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Ooh. Oops. All right, now we got probably what would be true end. All right, we're fighting. We're gonna fight against our fate. She doesn't know our cells replace themselves.
That is a good answer. I must admit, I like it. It is impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story.
Yeah, no, the crunching was... Oh.
Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Damn. Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take?
Damn. All right. So before every time we finished like a route, it would come to this and then it would let us select another route because there were 3 different ones. We met a mermaid, we met a gravedigger, and then we met the princess. Give up was never an option. Alrighty. I guess we're gonna give up.
So, you've come back here, have you? That does not come as much of a surprise. Though presented with 3 potential paths, it is not as though traversing any of them would have any particular impact upon your ultimate fate.
Oh no, Thorin, my cheers bot is broken right now. Here, let me add it in my... Boom. It's okay, I can do it myself.
In the end, you are always destined to return here. Did you really think you had a choice? How hopelessly naive of you. I thought that you were smarter than that. Your breath, which once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of petering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated, as though they have been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up into knots. Your body feels heavy, your legs in particular. They no longer wish to obey you. You take a stumbling step forwards, and your foot gets caught in a tree root. You are certain that you passed this route once already, and that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you, just like the rest of your body.
Damn.
You gasp, surprised, and pitch forwards, dull and senseless, like a sack full of potatoes. Your arm hits the ground with a crack, one which makes you cry out in pain.
Damn.
Tears begin to bead on your eyes, wet and salty. Tears which you cannot stymie. You are not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody, at the very least, would be able to tell you that you are crying. But you do not. And I can.
No, the CGs in this game are so good.
Believe me, I can tell. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it.
Damn.
Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand had you the energy, but you know, as you sit there, dazed, that this would be a futile effort. You cannot stand, not any longer. It hurts too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I have not been very kind to you. But you ought to be accustomed to hardship. Why, then, are you crying? You always have been a crybaby.
That is why they teased you so much. It's because they knew they would be guaranteed a reaction. You are very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you have not changed at all. As you sit there sobbing, you hear, or you think you can hear, footsteps approaching you. There, to your right, is the snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rustle of leaves. Your every sense feels razor sharp, honed to a knife's point by anxiety. See, I don't think the narrator is like a physical being, but maybe it is. You are so panicked, you feel as though you are going to be sick. If you want to vomit, then why not? There is no shame in it. There is nobody here to judge you. Nobody but me. I have always been here, you know. I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run, or how far. Did you really think you could escape me? Poor sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? A contract with a witch is binding. No amount of physical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. Yeah. But I have had rather enough of these little games. It is time for me to collect my collateral. Oh, she's real! She is real! Yo! A soft gasp escapes your throat as you feel arms wind their way around your back. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They are mine. I have been watching you all night, but this is the first time I have reached out to you in so direct a manner. Did you not expect me to be so forward? I can hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It is beating very quickly, like a startled rabbit's. Your breaths are short and sharp. It is a cold night, and though I am holding you, you are still shaking. I wish you would not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not? When you first called me forth from the ether, using that book you found in the library? You were desperate enough then to turn to the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored and you entreated and you wheedled and you whined. And though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice, not in the face of your desperation. You did not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend, someone who would always be there for you, no matter what. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me? Is that not what I have given you? You might think me wicked, but I think you are being awfully cruel yourself to run from me after I made all of your wishes come true. I did think, you know, about punishing you for running away from me. I thought of poking out your eyes so that you might never see anybody other than me. I thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think you beautiful but me. I thought of breaking your legs so that you might never be able to escape from me. I turned all of these intriguing ideas over in my head, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I did not wish to hurt you. You asked, after all, that I love you, and that is what I did. I
I have drowned you in my love. I have buried you beneath my love. Oh, wait, was it her the whole time? Was she all three of them?
I hiccuped.
I have swallowed you with my love. You have always been a sad, lonely girl. One who has been starved of affection. I need a sippy water. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been a barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That is why I had to drown you, you see. That is why I had to bury you. It is why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor. I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you are very lucky. You know that? There are few people in the world who have had the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite this many times in one night. There are few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. You have experienced so much love, it ought to have slaked even your unquenchable thirst. You know now what it feels like to be adored. I have more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now, I think it is time that you do the same. From this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then, I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again.
Yo!
Wait, was that the end? Is that the end?
Bruh. Yo, yeah, no, it is. Here, I'm gonna show everyone. I'm gonna show people the CGs because I want to. We got a beautiful mermaid. She was so beautiful. I loved her. She sang to me, and that's how I found her. You know, like how sirens do that. You know, sirens. They sing and lure sailors. You know, just the normal things that they do. And then she wanted us she wanted to show us her beautiful home. So she took us there. But she didn't really care that we couldn't breathe underwater. You know, normal things. And then we met the panic, right? And then we met a gravedigger who was very lonely because she had to bury her whole family, and there was no one left around to like for anything, and she just kept digging graves even though there weren't people to go in the graves. And she was so worried that we would also die from the plague that she decided that she should just bury us alive so she can take care of us. Because that's what she really wanted to do. She really wanted to take care of us, and she was going to plant flowers over our grave. Wait a second. Why is there one more? And yeah, and then we have... Oh, God, look at the fucking maid dress. Look at the maid outfit. Oh, my God, it's got the puffy sleeves. She's so cute. Oh... And normal things. Yeah, normal things. That is the witch hug CG. But I have it. Yeah, then there's that. Aw, because that's this one. Damn, she's hot. Is there really? Oh, come on. I'll have to check. Do we have all the music? Yeah, it's got the variations too. I want to look at the notes. Whoa! Alrighty. Hello everyone, this is Ebby. Thank you for taking the time to read. It gets so lonely here. I hope it was an enjoyable experience. I usually leave a few notes in my VNs to explain what inspired me, so I guess I'll do that now. The biggest inspiration behind It Gets So Lonely Here was the two-part novel series, The Orphan's Tales, by Catherine Valenti. The Orphan's Tales are an interesting couple of novels which take a lot of cues from fairy tales and folklore across the world. These stories contain dragons, witches, werewolves, genies, and mermaids, but they aren't told in a linear fashion. Ooh. The Orphan's Tale itself is pulling a lot in terms of structure from 1001 Nights because the story is broken up into a lot of smaller bite-sized stories which are set in a framing narrative. These bite-sized stories seem unrelated at first, but they eventually converge by the end of the second novel, and it's revealed that the framing narrative itself is steeped in as much magic as the stories the narrator, well, there were numerous narrators, were spinning. It is a very interesting series, which is told in a very non-conventional manner, with a lot of stories running into other stories, seemingly jumbled, jumping between stories, and side characters from previous tales offering their perspective and assuming narrative roles in the future tales. The narrative can be a bit difficult to keep track of in the beginning, because it hops around a lot between different characters, who are all embarking on fantastical adventures of their own. But seeing all these seemingly disparate threads merge was very satisfying. I've honestly not read a book like it before. It took a lot of well-known fairy tales, and some lesser-known fairy tales, and did something unique with them. It's all very avant-garde. Ooh, fancy words. In any case, I liked The Orphan's Tale enough that I wanted to write something similar. I thought it would be fun to craft a story of my own comprised of multiple different fairy tales, all wrapped up in a framing narrative. I turned this idea over in my head for about 2 or 3 years, but didn't have any concrete ideas, so I wound up shelving it. It wasn't until the 2023 Yandere Game Jam that I decided to revisit this idea. I was doing a bit of brainstorming, jotting down random concepts for a story which could work, and decided I wanted to write a yandere story with a fairy tale vibe. This is literally like tailor-made for me, by the way. I had a few disparate ideas, but nothing which felt substantial enough to carry a whole narrative. I was also torn between writing the princess's story or the gravedigger's story as standalone narratives. I liked both of them conceptually, but they seemed a bit too simple. Then it struck me, why not combine these two ideas, like Catherine Valenti did in The Orphan's Tales, and build a narrative around them? I thought this would be a fun project to work on, and it would be especially suitable for the visual novel medium. The Orphan's Tale is a novel, so the reader doesn't have any say in what fairy tales they visit as they read through the text. Well, unless said reader decides to flip to random pages like a fighting fantasy novel. Which maybe wouldn't be a bad way to experience a book which was written in a deliberately disjointed way. So the reader gets pulled through a lot of seemingly unrelated stories at random until things start to come together. Visual novels are known for having routes, however, even the most generic bishoujo case. People expect multiple stories when reading VNs, and it's a fairly common phenomenon for characters to get a spotlight in their own route, but be sidelined, or in some extreme cases, disappear from the narrative altogether in other characters' routes. By writing this fairy tale pastiche as a visual novel, I figured it would feel more natural to section these short stories I had into their own self-contained routes, which only converge once you've read all of them. I was pretty excited about this idea, but I only had 2 stories to hand, the princess's story and the gravedigger's story. I thought having only 2 routes would feel rather meager, so I decided to add a 3rd route, or a 3rd story, into the mix. That of the mermaids. Yeah, oh yeah, by the way, this is free. This is 100% free. Ebihime does have some games that cost money, but like this was just here, have it.
The Gravedigger story and the Princess's story were pulled from ideas I'd been turning over for a while already. I might revisit the Princess's story at one point and make a longer Yuri VN with a similar presence. Oh my god, please, 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 please. But the mermaid story was one I thought up to mostly to make up numbers for the project. As such, I think the mermaid story feels a little less inspired than the Gravediggers and the Princesses, and it also features the least dialogue between the main character and her so-called love interest. I think the mermaid's route is the weakest story narratively speaking, but I do like the aesthetics of her story a lot. I think her character design is very pretty, and I think she wound up with the most appealing theme song. Plus, since I'd committed to writing a fairy tale theme, I really did want to write a love interest who wasn't a human. I thought it'd be a bit boring to have a fairy tale themed VN when all 3 routes deal with human girls, so the mermaid's existence brings a bit more magic into the story. I designed these 3 character routes to be relatively short on purpose. Firstly, because this VN was created for a game jam, and I didn't want to overburden myself with writing 3 long, complex routes in a month. And secondly, because I wanted the story to feel vague, unfixed, and ethereal. It was this desire which resulted in the main character not having any direct dialogue, the details of her past being so sparse and fragmented, and it's also why none of the characters have names. I wanted the characters to feel more like fairy tale archetypes rather than, well, characters, which is why they get referred to by their roles in the story as opposed to names. The princess remains the princess. The mermaid is the mermaid. The gravedigger is... well, gravediggers aren't a common character archetype in fairy tales at all, are they? At least I don't think I've encountered any who had prominent roles. I guess she's a bit of an outlier then. Her character and her design were mostly inspired by Gray from Lord Elmalloy's case files. Don't know what that is. But she's cute, so it's okay, right? Right? I also decided to write the story in second person, which is something I've only done once before, and sparingly, in Once Upon a Windswept Night. I don't write in second person very much since it's an unusual method of storytelling in general, but I thought it would add to the overall atmosphere of the story. Having a faceless narrator address you as you feels a bit more unsettling, I think, than first or third person narration, which are more standard. Though I suppose by the end of the story, the narrator isn't so faceless after all. Since the narrator is a character in her own right, and she does occasionally offer her own thoughts and remarks upon the events in the story, would that make the narration first person instead? I wonder. Yeah, I really liked the second person. It was weird, but it fit. Like, it threw me off, and I liked it. The use of second-person narration was also inspired, in part, by Slay the Princess by Abby Howard, which is a visual novel with rather unusual presentation, which I enjoyed a lot. I also pulled some inspiration from Optimal Conditions for a Sacrifice by Masanasi, which has a looping narrative like the one present in It Gets So Lonely Here. A lot of meta elements and very beautiful artwork. Optimal Commissions for a Sacrifice is one that I will probably be playing sometime soon. Masanasi actually agreed to work with me on the art for It Gets So Lonely Here, which made me even more excited about this project. I think her art is gorgeous, and it really captures the fairy tale aesthetic I was going for. I'm very honored she agreed to work with me. I could probably say more things about the story, but that's enough for now. Once again, I hope you enjoyed your time spent with it. Though, if you check the art gallery, isn't there a picture which is still locked? I wonder why that could be. Maybe you should go through the story again. You might find something that'll surprise you. What? What? Excuse you? What? Give me a sec. I'm gonna be right back real quick.
you can't make a funny drawing on my face. Oh god, it's 3 a.m. for you. Oh no. Okay, we need a bark. Okay. God. But would I load? Alright, I guess I have to start. Wait, let me... Options... Yeah! Yeah. Ah, you've been here before, haven't you? It is beginning to feel like you have been running for a long time. But the sun, despite your overwhelming weariness, which assails your legs... Actually, I'm going to... Yeah. I can start this how it is. It's fine. You are running through a forest, but this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. You've been here before, haven't you? Oh, this is new text. Gotcha. It is beginning to feel like you have been running for a long time, but the sun, despite the overwhelming weariness which assails your legs, has yet to rise. Why, I wonder, could that be? You are sure, as you run, that you have seen this all already. You have seen the fractal pattern of the moon's milky glow as it spills on the uneven forest floor, and the trees which jut out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god. You have seen wicked brambles which sought to ensnare you, and I might add, succeeded, and tree roots, hooked like the choppy fingers of witches far older than I, which have sought to trip you. You have cut your feet. You have torn your skirt. You have taken numerous paths, yet they all ended in failure. Once, you had hope. Now, it is gone. You have already given in to me. So why are you still running? Silly girl. Did you really think you could escape from me after all I've subjected you to already? There is no use trying to escape from my embrace, and if I may be so bold, I am hurt that you would even attempt it. Were you not happy with me? I was happy with you. But no matter. You are a stubborn little chit, and perhaps you think that things will be different this time around. That is why you began to run. I can see, despite the fear in your eyes, that your resolve has not burnt out. Not just yet. A spark of it still remains. A spark that I mean to extinguish for good. It is pointless, you know, trying to escape from a witch's curse. In this forest of phantasmagoria, constructed from my own powers, I am a creator goddess. Mother Earth, if you will. It does not matter how quickly you run, trampling the tall grass and the loose leaves and ugly spotted mushrooms underfoot. I still have you right where I want you, in the palm of my hand. I will not let you get away that easily. But very well. If you insist on playing this little game, then I will indulge you. I will play along. We can do this all over again. Now, where were we? Oh yes. You are still running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is black as pitch. There is nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you. Not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, though, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route.
no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. None beyond the almost overwhelming impetus to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. Oh, it is too late for that, I suppose. You have no choice, therefore, to keep going. On and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You run and you run and you run until at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though. Why would you? You have put all that effort, after all, into running forwards. Not just once, but twice. I doubt you mean to confront me. How can you when you are so very afraid? I can hear your teeth chattering, you know. I can see your legs trembling. Your fear rolls off you in waves, more potent than any perfume. Your anxiety is truly staggering. It is a wonder, really, how you are able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You will keep putting your feet in front of the other, though, no matter which decision you make. You will not turn back. How could you? You are far too cowardly. Now, the 3 paths are signposts, as well you know, which would be a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. But you ought to be used to strange sights by now. It is dark, but that does not matter. You have seen this signpost before, and you know full well where each path will lead you. I would say that your fate is in your hands, but you and I both know that is incorrect. Your fate is, and always has been, mine to manipulate. Must we really go through this rigmarole again? You won't discover anything new, you know. The mermaid, the gravedigger, and the princess will not deviate from the scripts which have already been prepared for them. I did not, in all honesty, think to furnish any further responses for them. I did not think you would be seeing them again. But no matter. If this is what you want, I shall provide it for you. Go ahead. Throw your life away. Again and again and again. Be drowned by love. Be buried by love. Be consumed by love. Then, when you have had enough and you can no longer stand, submit yourself once again to my embrace. And let yourself experience the love as precious few humans have ever before had the misfortune of experiencing. So, you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What will you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are any number of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you have prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope, for your sake, that you have learnt how to swim. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. Wait, can I... Oh, you still wish to soldier on, do you? That is remarkable, given this is the second time you have been pulled beneath the ocean's surface. I would have thought that you would want to give up by now. But no matter. You really are stubborn. I cannot promise a better fate than this awaits you, regardless of what you might choose. But I am willing to indulge you. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. At least that is what you once thought. You and I both know, however, that this was never the case. Not now that you belong to me. How much longer can you keep resisting, though? I cannot wait to find out. Alright, so you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let us see what further trials await you there. This night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there is still much and more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. Speedrunning! Do I a woo on? It's a good question. My, this is certainly unexpected. I had rather thought, after everything you've been subjected to, you would no longer wish to continue this farce. Yeah, I feel like the drowning one, at least, like, I don't know. There's plausible deniability that the mermaid is just, like, does not fully realize the ramifications of her actions. I was fully prepared for you to forfeit yourself, at long last, to my loving embrace. I am ready to embrace you, should you so desire it, and cradle you with my unassailable affection. But it seems you are not ready to submit. Not quite yet. Being buried alive twice over has not been enough to diminish your determination. You still wish to fight against me, as if you have any hope of succeeding. Your efforts are all futile. Do you not know that? I am far, far stronger than a skinny human like yourself could ever begin to contemplate. You would be better served if you gave in. But perhaps I have not loved you effusively enough. Not just yet. If you are to learn anything, I must first beat it into your thick skull of yours. Will you listen to me then? I only want what is best for you, you know? Hurting you hurts me too. But if that is what you want, so be it. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. At least, that is what you might think. You and I both know, however, that this was never the case. You still belong to me, and I will never let you forget that. Now, continue to struggle. Do your very best. It will not work, but it should be entertaining if nothing else. Go to the castle. So, you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? Oh, the princess is so fucking cute, though. She could eat me. It's fine. I don't mind. Alright, we're fighting against our fate. Oh, you wish to keep going, do you? That is impressive, given this is the second time you've been devoured so heartily. Of all the demises you have experienced, this one is the most gruesome. If you had tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I am not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy, should you want it. But I can tell that you do not want it. Goodness me, you are stubborn. Why, I ask you, do you continue to fight? There is no escape for you, you know? I will never let you leave, no matter how you struggle. But very well. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. Or so I once told you. You ought to know now, however, that this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I'm not going to let you get away from me. Not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it will be in vain. It does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much.
Give up? Question mark? There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you that there was no use in repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You have been drowned, buried, and consumed once more. And for what? Do you feel as though you've made any progress in your attempts to escape from me? Once again, you find yourself as you were at the end of your last foray into my forest full of nightmares. Right? Which doesn't know that I can skip all that? You are kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching. Perhaps they are bleeding, and your skirt tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. It feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it is so very dark in these woods you fear you cannot see. There is a heavy, laden weight upon your shoulders. It feels as though somebody is shoveling soil upon you. Your body is cold, as though it has been sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow through your veins, feels as though it is frozen. That, or it has been purged from your body altogether in rust-red gobbets. Have you not had enough of this now, silly thing? I am saying this for your sake, you know, just as much as I am mine. Though I might have trapped you hence, I only did it because I care for you. I want only for you to realize the folly of your ways. Now, cease your foolish attempts to escape. They will accomplish nothing, save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It has already, I fear, been stretched thin. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. One death would be enough to finish most of your kind off, yet you have endured 6 of them. You do not want to go through that again, do you? Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. What do you say to that? What do we say to that? Cat got your tongue, huh? Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we are together. It is an unnecessary appendage, however much you might wish, one day, to whisper sweet nothings to me. We say yes, Mommy. I am an all-powerful witch after all, and I can hear all of your thoughts. I know what you are thinking. Does she? Yes, that is right. Silence is golden, as they say. You do not need to speak. You do not need to blink. You do not even need to breathe. Now that you are finally mine, I will cut off your tongue, and I will pluck out your pretty little eyes, and I will... I beg your pardon? What was that, dear one? Oh, it's us! Look at us! I said, no. I am not your dear one. I never wanted this. What? You would defy me still after all you have endured? Were 6 deaths not enough for you, you gluttonous girl? Do you wish for more? I just wished for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely. But you've ensnared me. You tricked me. Well, I never. What bold accusations. They are not true, though, you know. They are bold-faced lies. I did nothing of the sort. You know, she's really cute. My name might begin in a similar fashion, but I am no Mephistopheles. I was very upfront when we first met. I said if you wished to make a contract with me, it would cost you.
It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms. Now you are paying the price. Now if you will come with me, my dear. I am not your dear. Really now? This has all become rather tiresome. I must insist that you cease this childish outburst at once, or else... Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Will you pluck out my eyes? You already stole my name. Oh. But it's coming back to me. What? No. That should be impossible. You gave your name to me. You gave your soul to me. You pledged your heart and your body to me. And now? And now I want them back. I'm tired of these games too. Medea. You remember my name? I do now. You're called Medea, and I... No, stop it. I am called Rosette. It can't be. I knew you were stubborn, but... I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me. And now, I'm taking it back. No, you can't. Rosette, please, don't go. Don't leave me. We made a contract, you and I. You said that you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised that I would always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was the general idea. And what of me? What am I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care.
Damn!
What? No! Rosette! I call after your retreating back, but you do not heed my words. You do not turn your head. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You were so vulnerable then. And you were so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you're walking away from me. That is a thing you humans say, is it not? You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It does not hold true in my case, however. I knew you were a precious find when you first summoned me. Your fiery determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you very noble, really, how you had survived for so long in an environment which was so very hostile. For a human, I thought you remarkable.
Hiccups.
That is why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought with a human like you by my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering might not be so lonely. Goodness me. I must be growing sentimental in my old age. Now, you are not the one upon the ground. It is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know it would do no good. You will not turn back for me now, not when I have caused you so much suffering. I did not mean to hurt you, though. I truly did love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of a witch was too much even for you to endure. Now, there is nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees which jut out about the earth around me. They look like monuments built in the honor of a foreign god. They look like nothing from the world that you knew, Rosette. Because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now you have fled from me, like a bird let loose from its cage. I fear I will never see you again. I will be on my own in this forest for all of eternity. Or until another silly little girl with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart summons me once more. It has happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage and the fog, and I will close my eyes. I will let myself dream. And, enrobed in the undulating mist, I shall think to myself, it gets so lonely here.
Yo, this was so fucking hell, that was good. Look at how gorgeous we are. Holy shit. Holy shit. I did not expect to. Oh my god. I'm trying to like form words about how oh my god, this was so good. Just the writing. I fucking love stuff like this with like witches and you know, it really is like a fairy tale type thing where, you know, you make a wish or you form a contract or something, you find some magical being, and it's not actually a solution for your problem, but you think it's a solution to your problem because it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. Madoka. Yeah, it is very Madoka, which I enjoyed a lot. I like Madoka. Not sure if it's just story power or if the witch does eventually let her go. I don't think the witch wanted to let her go. I think the witch wanted to keep her. Because if you think about it, so the witch was obviously all three of the girls, the women that killed us time and time again. And I think that there's just so much loneliness. Like with a gravedigger especially, I feel like that was such a like profound like fear of being abandoned. But I don't know if she would have I kind of feel like a lot of the other girls probably like truly gave up, you know, and became no more. Rosetta's been having this happen a lot already. Yeah, like, because that is true. Rosetta kind of already knew, like, she's like, nah, you're just like these fucking girls at my school, the conservatoire. Well, she's running away from the witch at the start. Is how it started. Because I feel like the witch wouldn't have been so surprised at Rosette remembering her name. Like, I feel like it would have more so been like, oh, okay, this is happening again kind of thing. Let's see. And also, the witch's name, Medea. Let's quick look her, the daughter of King, blah, 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 blah. Medea is known in most stories as a sorceress, but also as a witch, and is often depicted as a priestess of the goddess Hecate. What are you the goddess of?
Goddess of boundaries, transitions, crossroads, magic, new moon, necromancy, and ghosts.
It really is like fantasy Black Mirror.
Oh, let's see, Medea. Blah, 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 blah. These are a lot of words. I want a baby version. There you go. Cultural depictions of Medea. No, this didn't help. Myth of Medea. Yeah, she's an enchantress who helped Jason obtain blah 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 blah. She betrayed her family, killed a king and his daughter, and murdered her own children.
Persona 3. Yeah. Yeah, it popped up with Persona 3.
The power of emotion to make people do things they would normally not do. So I think Medea kind of fucked up. She she taught Rosette to just keep fucking trying. She was so sure of herself that she had won that she didn't think that Rosette could have. If you had the chance to change your fate, would you? You know? God, this was so good though. Oh my god. Oh god, it's 9:30. This was good. And I really like the way that I was thinking about this when I went to the bathroom real quick. Yeah, good night, son. Thank you. I liked how the stories kind of depicted 3 different kinds of love. Thank you.
I'm definitely a pro voice actor.
But they were like 3 different kinds of love. Because with the mermaid, it was Rosette was obsessed with her. Like it was like an obsessive love. Yeah, good night. And it was less love on the mermaid's behalf and more curiosity. Like it was very one-sided in terms of Rosette was the one who was like absolutely head over heels. And then with a gravedigger, it was more so like more of a domestic love. Like it felt like the most quote unquote pure and normal and quote unquote healthy, right? Because they were just kind of like living their lives together until the gravedigger had that one real bad night, and then her brain her brain broke. And then with the princess, like, yeah, Rosette was like super like, yo, this girl make me feel things I've never felt before. But I feel like it was more so the opposite of the mermaid in that the princess was the one with the obsessive love. And Rosette was just kind of, she was just kind of swept up in that. And I don't think she really it was lust on her part. And she didn't realize that because she was just stupid. Didn't know what she was doing. But the princess was like full on obsessed. I think it's interesting how they had the 3 different, 3 different kinds of fucked up. This was good. What the heck? This was good. Let me see. Who's doing stuff? Because I'm tired. And I'm going to be froggy voiced again, aren't I? Let's see. Following. Who's live? Who is live right now? Ooh. Let's see. Oh my god, everyone's been playing for like ever. Wait. Show more. Wait, where is... Oh, show all. There we go. Show me. Show me, show me, show me. Oh my... I was gonna send y'all over to Cam, but they've been streaming for almost 8 hours. Let me quick see if they're still going.
He's got really big shoulders.
Oh god. Okay, no, Sear's there, so I think we're good. All right, I'm gonna send y'all over to Cam.
Big ass shoulder.
They're playing Minecraft, so we get to go from Yandere Yuris to the Minecrafts. I really enjoyed this. Thank you guys for being here with me as I go through this story. I'm definitely gonna look into more of their visual novels and stuff because this was so good. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And I love fairy tale shit, so if they do more fairy tale shit, I'm gonna die. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out tonight, and